Happy Halloween.
Ooh. Oh my God, this episode actually airs on Halloween too.
Spooky.
We're recording right at the last second for this episode, so
Yeah. Like one time we did really at the last second, remember? And we recorded like the day that it went
and
live.
then posted
but
it. Yeah.
This is happening the day before. So
Yeah. Lots of time.
Still, But normally we record way before. But this is going live on Halloween. So happy Halloween.
Happy
to
Halloween.
all those who celebrate.
Yeah.
Mary asked me this weekend if you celebrate Halloween, if Canadians celebrate Halloween. I was like, yes.
I mean, to be fair, it's like there's a lot of countries that don't. So I think it's really like North America,
American.
Like I don't think they do trick-or-treating in the UK. I could be wrong, but I remember some of our clients being like, oh, we don't really do that,
Oh.
So
yeah. Okay.
Here we are. Happy Halloween.
Well, the Canadians do.
The Canadians do. Yes, we do.
All right. You go like house to house?
Oh, yeah. 100%. Pillowcases full of candy.
Pillowcases.
We do. We have our route planned so that we do one loop that then brings us by our house so that we dump the candy.
Oh my gosh.
But then we take the candy because I really like trick-or-treating with my kids and so does James. So we just leave a bowl out. So then we take the candy that we don't like and we put it in the bowl for the kids who are still trick-or-treating. And then we keep going.
Perfect.
It works really well because then we get less candy that we don't like.
Yeah. And still get to give to the kids who
And like I bought candy, but it's like enough for the first, like I bought a lot of candy, but I bought candy I like. So
yeah. And you never know if like one kid's going to come and dump the whole thing in his pillowcase.
And I don't care if they do, go for it. Like really, it's lawless land on Halloween. I really don't care. Like you could be 17 trick-or-treating as long as you have a costume on. I don't care. Here's 20 chocolate bars. Like enjoy your childhood while you still can.
Right. Like I will never tell someone like, aren't you a little too old to be trick-or-treating? No.
Never. If you put even like the smidgenest smallest amount of effort into a costume, we're good.
Yeah. What about like if the parent is with the kid, do you bring a bag too for like to get candy or your kids just get it?
No, just my kids get it. And so this
like,
is our
what if like a parent came like
I would give it to them too. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like sure, whatever. I don't care. So this is our Halloween philosophy. I'm going to share it with you. I'm going to share it with all of our listeners. So we go trick-or-treating all together in a group. And then we come home and we obviously sort for razor blades and drugs, as you have to do. No one's drugging your kids
sure.
in this economy. And then we make the kids go through and they each pick out like one of those little kid Halloween buckets full of things that are like their buckets of their candy. So it's usually like 20 to 30 things. That's like, these are mine. Yeah. And then the rest is fair game.
For everyone. You put it in like a big bowl for the family.
And then it's fair game for me, James, each other as well. But it's like they each get their own, like, do not touch this. This is my candy.
Yeah.
And they can pick whatever they want to put in there. So that's our philosophy.
Okay. I like it.
Yeah.
So have you seen this thing called like the Switch Witch?
I was just going to say the Switch Witch.
Okay.
I have thoughts.
So the Switch Witch, I saw this like reel or like this little video on social media about like, okay, so you let your kid maybe take like 3 or so pieces, 3 to 5 pieces of candy that they want. And then you take the rest of the candy and you leave it outside and you tell them that the Switch Witch is coming that night. And in place of all, like she's going to take the candy, but she's going to leave you a toy. Like she switches it. Right.
Yeah.
So one night I was telling Kit like a bedtime story and she likes when I like make up bedtime stories. And so I was telling her this story about this witch called the Switch Witch. And when you go trick-or-treating, you get all this candy, but she comes and she wants to take your candy, but then she wants to leave you a toy. And I said, would you like that? No.
Absolutely not, woman.
I was like, what about if, no, I want to keep my candy. And I was like, well, what if you keep 5 pieces of candy and then the Switch Witch will come and give you a toy? No, I can't. What about 10 pieces of candy? No, she wants basically
all the candy.
She wants all her candy. She does not have any interest in the Switch Witch.
Were you considering doing the Switch Witch based on her reaction?
Trying to like, you know, gauge her interest with this story that I was telling her about this idea of the Switch Witch. And then she was just like, I don't want her coming to my house. And I was like, okay, I'll tell her to go to some other kid's
house. Yeah. I am like a parent of the 90s. Like I parent as if it is still the 90s. Like my kids literally play in the street and, you know, like come in when the lights come on. Like I'm like, I don't care. Like I just spent $60 on Halloween candy for trick-or-treaters. You think I'm then gonna go
spend more money on
$60 on toys for my kids?
Yeah.
No, I'm gonna eat this $60 of candy we trick-or-treated. Like
Yeah.
Also, we are a candy family. So like we are a candy family, and that's fine. I'm happy with my life choices. I think the Switch Witch is a really great idea for like food allergy, you know, like we try to put out some like teal pumpkin stuff, you know what I mean? Sometimes we're not always great at it, but we try sometimes.
Yeah.
I think in certain scenarios it makes a lot of sense. And so I like that it's becoming like popularized for like those who need it. But that's not me. I don't need that. I need the candy.
Yeah, we won't be doing it, so.
Yeah. Like, this is too soon to ask, but, like, do you, content warning Santa Claus conversations, volume down if needed. Do you do Elf on the Shelf?
No, I have not committed to that yet.
Yeah, no. See,
and I'm not really interested.
Lila has been asking for a few years if we could get an elf, and I've never gotten one, and I'm like, absolutely not. Why do you don't need a spy to spy on you to go back and, you know, tell Santa, because Lila
Santa doesn't Santa already know?
Lila still believes in Santa Claus. Like, so even this year, she's turning 10. Like, she still believes. So I'm like,
but can't Santa already see you when you're sleeping? He knows when you're awake.
That's what I mean. I'm like, we don't need this weird elf. Like, and it's just more work for me.
Bad or good, it'll be good for goodness sake. Like, we don't need an elf.
I just said no.
I just can't have more work for myself right now. 100%.
You know? You have to move it every day. I think if you could, I would do it for like a week. If I could just do it for like the 18th to the 24th, like I could get on board with that. But the whole month of December, no. Not happening.
There's already enough going on. Like I'm already stressed.
It was just Lila's birthday, then it's Oakley's birthday, then no.
Yeah, I have the opposite. Like I'm already trying to plan like Kit's birthday party for January and like what we're doing, you know? Yeah. I'm like, plus I feel like there's so many like little events, whether it's, she does have like a lot of friends whose birthdays are around this time. So we have like kids' birthday parties and like
Valentine's
gift
Day
exchange. And I'm like, I can't also with an elf. So no.
Okay.
More power to you if you can. I think it's cute. I just can't. Personally.
I actually could see myself doing it like when my children no longer believe, just as like something funny, because then there's not the pressure of like, oh, we have to do this every night. It's like it's just like a funny thing, or we all take turns doing it, you know, it's like a family activity, but not right now. I don't have the time or patience. Plus we all go to bed at the same time, so I don't know. We all go to bed at 8 o'clock, so I don't know when I'm supposed to do this.
Good point.
Yeah. Anyway, we skipped right to Christmas as we do. So my Christmas tree will be going up next weekend, so it's fine.
Same. I know that like there's some people who are like, no Christmas until Thanksgiving is over. American Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Your Thanksgiving's already over, so you're in the clear. Just like put up the tree. That is one good thing about like very early Canadian Thanksgiving, right? Like
there's lots of good things about it, but that is one of them for sure.
That's one of them, is that you're not like
beholden to this random holiday.
To we can't decorate for Christmas until Thanksgiving's over. Well, Thanksgiving is at the end of November, and like decorating for Christmas is a lot of work.
It's so much work. It takes forever.
I don't want to put that up for just 24 days. Like
no.
I need a solid month and a half, 2 months.
Yeah, when I was a kid, we didn't decorate until like December 18th, and it was down by like the 27th.
Oh my gosh.
My dad really doesn't like clutter, and so and he had my grandfather passed away when my dad was a kid, like around Christmas, so it's just not his favorite. And I get that, and I respect that. But like as soon as I got my own life, I was like, oh, November 3rd, Christmas tree is going up. It's gotten earlier and earlier every year. During COVID, it got really early, and now it's just like keeps getting earlier because I'm like, this is incredible. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll probably I don't know if we'll make it next weekend, but very soon after, you know?
We don't turn our outside lights on until after Remembrance Day. That's kind of our
When's that?
November 11th.
Okay.
Like, we put them up because the weather sucks, but we won't turn them on until after Remembrance Day. I think that's kind of like our okay, we can be outwardly Christmassy now.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Is Remembrance Day like our Veterans Day?
Veterans Day, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I was just looking at the calendar. I'm like, is that the same for us?
Yeah. Veterans Day, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh, it's on a Saturday.
It is.
Guess. All right.
That's when it fell. Calendars. Funny how
it's
they
always
work.
on the 11th, huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, well, when I went to Busch Gardens this weekend, and they've already decorated for Christmas, so good for them.
I was at Disney World like this time last year, and they were already decorating for Christmas. Like, Halloween hadn't even happened yet, and they were like, Christmas stars were going up.
Like at Busch Gardens, they have like Hall of Scream at night right now, so there's like a lot of spooky stuff too, but then in certain areas there's already like wreaths and garlands
and garland.
Yeah, they're like, sorry guys,
we don't have time.
We gotta flip this in like one day, so
literally, yeah. So good times.
Well, are you excited for Halloween?
Am I excited for Halloween? I'm excited to get candy. Yep.
Are you dressing up with the kids? Do you guys have a family costume? You do that?
We don't anymore. They won't allow us. They have their own likes. So,
right.
Lila's being Taylor Swift. Not a lot going on at the moment version. And Oakley's being the Red Ranger from Power Rangers.
And so when you go with them, will you dress up or just wear like a Halloween shirt?
We are dressing up with a couple friend and their baby. Okay. The four of us and the baby.
You did tell me what the costume is. Yes.
Okay. I'll post a picture after. I'm not allowed to spoil it, and this airs before Halloween. So like, we went to Halloween party this weekend, and I had to make a different costume because I couldn't spoil my actual Halloween costume. So
I just want to give an update to all the work wifeys who are concerned about what Kit is going to be wearing tomorrow.
She's not going to be a blankie.
She's not going to be a blankie, as far as I know. But I think I may have messed things up. Yesterday, there's this thing on, like, in our town called Halloween on Central, and they closed down the whole street, and like there's like stores and vendors that come out, and so Kit got to like do some trick-or-treating there, but we wore our family costume. Okay. So she was Dorothy from the Wizard of Oz. She loves the Wizard of Oz. It was so cute. Classic. She made the cutest little Dorothy. I was a Scarecrow. Tyler was the Tin Man. Coco absolutely boycotted her lion costume, but I made it work for, the day. So then we get home last night and we're talking about Halloween, and she's like, I said, do you still even want to go trick-or-treating? Because you got so much candy today. Like, you already went trick-or-treating, basically. And she goes trick-or-treating tomorrow at school. Her school is like a block away from City Hall, so they get to go to City Hall and go trick-or-treating.
Nice.
And she's going to wear her Elsa costume for that. That she just like has in her closet from a hand-me-down from my niece. But she was like, yeah, I want to go trick-or-treating, but I want to wear a different costume. And I was like,
no.
Oh, no. She's over it. Like, she's over Dorothy. It's been done now.
Yeah.
So.
Well, too bad.
Tyler was like, what did you learn? What did you learn? And I was like, I don't know what I learned, because how was I to avoid this?
I learned that be ready for everything.
Like, 3-year-olds are fickle, okay? And they get bored of their costume. And I've learned that she's a drama performer. Like, she needs a new costume now, just because that is who she is at heart.
Yeah. I learned valuable life lessons, but you don't need to rub it in my face, Tyler.
Yeah. I was like, nothing. I didn't learn anything from this, like. So we'll see what she decides to wear actually trick-or-treating to tomorrow night. Wish me luck.
We'll have to post updates of our costumes so that everyone can see.
Everyone will see what happens.
Yeah.
So we have lots of like things in our dress-up box that I'm not buying anything else, but if she refuses the Dorothy costume, like, she'll pick something else from there. or a blankie, I guess.
I hope she goes with a blankie after all that.
I know. All right, we ready for stories?
Yeah, now let's dive in.
Okay. So, me promised a coworker I wouldn't quit before Christmas, but now, low key, I feel like my performance and patience with this retail job is slipping. I don't want to work here anymore, and with literally 3 other people looking to head out also, I'm kind of at my wit's end. But when my coworker, let's call her Brenda, and I were talking and complaining about our job, she was like, wow, those 3 people who left were so selfish. Now we got to pick up their slack and take their hours and blah, blah, blah. And I half-heartedly said, ha, 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 yeah, even though I'm also planning to leave before Christmas. I don't know if I should feel bad or not. It's legit so bad that I want to put in my 2 weeks without another job lined up and just focus on school for right now. But I feel like Brenda is going to be mad at me for this, and so will other coworkers. What should I do?
Quit. It's a retail job. It's fine.
Yeah, it's not your job to keep Brenda happy.
No.
You know?
Like, are you and Brenda friends outside of work? Even if you are.
Even if you were, like, you got to do what's best for you.
Yeah.
Right? You could just talk to her and be like, give her a heads up if you were close to her.
Yeah.
Outside of work, you know? But you don't owe her anything in terms of staying longer than you feel that you want to, because, yeah.
I mean, we've all worked those retail jobs, especially heading into the Christmas season. It's horrific. So
it's about to get worse.
Yeah, it's going to go from bad to worse. So especially like these days. So yeah, you don't owe anybody anything.
Like you said, you don't have another job lined up. So, you know, just make sure your finances are where they need to be able to quit. But you don't need to stay for anybody else besides yourself.
Exactly. So. Easy peasy on that one. Just leave.
I know. Just leave. Peace.
Yeah.
Okay. How do I get over hatred of work?
Tell me when you get the answer.
Yeah, work in general. Okay. They say, I want to be productive and do something for a living. I like making money. And when I'm really passionate about something, I work hard to be good at it. However, I keep running into this problem. I find something I like to do and work hard at it for a while, like 1 to 2 years. I get relatively into it and efficient, but then I get bored with it or I lose interest. Then I don't want to do it anymore and I end up hating the work I'm doing. This is unfortunately making it a problem where I'm worried I can't move upwards in a career as I don't have the long-term motivation to work hard and improve beyond the 1 to 2 year mark. I can do the work, but I become very depressed with the jobs and I hate going every day that I have to. I honestly feel like I may just hate working no matter what industry I try. What's the best way to combat a lack of motivation in jobs? Does anyone else just hate their job no matter what they do?
Oh my gosh. So we just keep circling the drain around this, like, find work that you don't need a vacation from conversation, right? Like, the majority of people don't have the financial luxury to not work, you know?
Yeah.
Or to, like, what's the word I'm trying, like, for some people, like, your job is just your job. And it's not incredible. It's not, but it pays the bills. It allows you a lifestyle that it provides, benefits, like tangible, like dental and eye care, and a schedule that works for your family. And you're not miserable, and that's enough. And I don't know why that can't be enough. Why it's frowned on for that to be enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes you just have to find like your passions and the things you love outside of your work. And you have to look at your work as the means to be able to do those other things.
Yeah.
But you don't have to necessarily love your work. I mean, I think exploring other industries or exploring other things is always good and healthy, but it sounds like you've kind of done that. I don't know how many times you've done that. It sounds like you're also still young. So maybe there is something out there that you could love. I think there's also just the reminder that, it sounds like you want to move up in a career. And when you move up, the job will change. And so maybe that could be enough for you to get remotivated about something new. You said after that 1 to 2 year mark, you kind of get like womp womp, but maybe you should be looking for promotion internally within those 1 to 2 years to give yourself a new challenge. This is like the S curve that we talk about. Like maybe you're in a state of mastery. Whitney Johnson is the one who kind of created this framework around the S curve to use it for our careers and our career growth. And I'm certified in her methodology because I thought it was a super important tool as it relates to leadership and talent and team development. But one of the things that we talk about is after a certain amount of time, like people need new challenges, right? And when they've reached mastery, they will get bored. And when they get bored, they will get frustrated. And when they get frustrated, they'll leave. Mm-hmm. So you may be experiencing that natural point of the S curve. And I think that this is something to talk to your manager and your leadership about, to like ask for a new challenge, right? So that maybe you can create some additional excitement, passion, motivation for yourself at the same company so that you can start progressing and moving up versus making a ton of these lateral moves, maybe to different industries that are creating a new S curve for you, because jumping onto a new S curve is going to put you in a position where maybe you're, reigniting that motivation again. It's more challenging for you again. You're having to figure things out again. And like that might be something that you need in order to stay engaged. So I would definitely look into that and talk to your leadership about it so that you can maybe find something internal to reignite that passion. So, but sometimes work is just work. So that's okay too.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, of course, the S curve all comes into play, and it's important to keep yourself challenged at work. And I think you're probably making lateral moves, which is why you're getting bored after a year, because it takes time to get comfortable at a new role, and then you do it for a few months, and then you're like, oh, this is still boring. It's probably because it's like the same job, different font, like as your previous one. So it's not going to challenge you. I also want to remind people that like, it's okay if you find your joy or your passion or your challenge from your 5 to 9 and not your 9 to 5. So if your work is allowing you XYZ and that is really fulfilling, then that can be where you find the passion, joy, and motivation to stay engaged in it. Of course, I want people to continue challenging themselves, speaking to their leadership about opportunities, but there isn't always going to be an opportunity for you to grow into. Maybe it's a year or two down the road. Maybe somebody else needs to retire. Somebody else needs to, or the company needs to grow to a certain point where there will be new challenges. And sometimes it's in our best interest to stick it out and wait for those challenges to come, or wait for the company to reach a position where you can also grow along with it. It can be really hard, though, to just stick it out. So find things outside of work that are going to fulfill you if you can. Right. Again, this is not this, I know there's also lots of people who are stuck in multiple jobs working a lot, like where they don't have a 5 to 9 because they're working 2 jobs. And it's like, again, I'm speaking to like the corporate girly, if I'm being honest. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Capitalism. So we got to work, got to make money.
There are lots of people who work simply so they can go take their sweet vacations.
Yeah.
I'm like, great. Love that for you.
And some of us, like, I'm just thinking like there's got to be something in the world that is a career that like doesn't feel like work, right? Like something that you would enjoy, but maybe you don't have the strengths for that. Like maybe God didn't, like I'm supposed to be like a pop artist, right? Like I should be Taylor Swift, but like I wasn't given those strengths.
I wasn't given a voice. Yeah.
So here I am.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, sure, there is a job that I would love. I just am not qualified for it.
Or I wasn't given like the opportunities in my childhood to explore those. Like,
yeah.
I don't like, we cannot understate like how much of a privilege it is to be able to get certain levels of education. Like those doors are not open to everyone. So maybe those doors weren't open to you.
I don't want to be the person who's like, just find something you love and do it. It's like, well, maybe something that I love is maybe not accessible to me anymore. Maybe there are like things similar to that, or I could work in that industry. Yeah. So like maybe that's something to explore. But yeah.
Like we can't all, like not everyone can just be a doctor. Like, or a lawyer, or an engineer or something, because like that's a lot of money that some people just don't simply have access to, right? So like what can we do? What passions can we find? You know, how can you find something and incorporate it into your work if possible? You know, like maybe you're passionate about art or music or something, and there's a way to like sprinkle it in. Maybe not, but maybe.
Just be open. Right?
Follow your dreams.
Next story.
Yeah.
Can I get fired for having an OnlyFans that is not tied to my legal name or real social media accounts?
I love these questions because I'm like, no, and you're always like, yes. And so you can get fired for anything, right?
I guess you could get fired for anything, but I don't think, no, this is totally legal, right? Like you can do this, but just know that sex work stays out there forever on the internet, you know? So if it's not something that you want to come back and haunt you in the future, then just, I would think about it very, I would take it into like deep consideration before doing it. Cause obviously it's something that is, you know, it's like it's serious you can't take it back. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but there's definitely nothing like illegal about it, especially if you're not even tying it to your legal name. I mean, I think even if you did tie it to your legal name, I don't think that there's anything wrong with that.
Right. So I have like I'm playing devil's advocate here, and like let the record show like this is not how I feel or believe, but because I think sex work is valid work and you can do whatever you want to do with your body. Like men have been sexualizing women. I mean, I know men also do sex work, but I'm just saying like men have been profiting off women's bodies since the dawn of time. So like let me profit off my own body for once if I want to. But so like I'm playing devil's advocate right here because we've had conversations, you know, with our clients or ourselves about if your team members are not in alignment with your values. And if they are publicly representing themselves as in opposition to your company values, is that reason to let someone go? Now, again, I do not believe that this is a value this is not a value I hold. But if I had a very conservative business with very conservative values, and I have an employee who's out there living in opposition to those values, like what do you do then?
Yeah, like then it probably would be a reason to potentially let this person go, right? Because especially if you're working for a small business, or I guess even a corporation might be even easier.
Think about how many Karens get fired for like their rants being captured on TikTok and then submitted to their employers and then fired.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those things you really have to like strongly think about all the potential repercussions of if this person knows that you're doing this, if the company knows you're doing this, if future organizations, because they'll be able to find that, right? So maybe it's not even a company that you're working with now, but if there is a company in the future that you may want to work with that is not going to share those values, then you have to be willing to deal with that, right? Like it doesn't mean that it is a no, it just means like, okay, I'm willing to
stand for
handle
this.
That.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like it shouldn't like I wouldn't let it stop you if it's what you want to do, but like there's consequences to every action that we take, or you know, and
trade-offs.
People we don't all unfortunately believe have the same values and beliefs. So people are going to make decisions and they're going to do whatever they feel is right for them. And that could include not hiring you or firing you. So,
yep. So just think about it before you do it, because that's true for anything we put on the internet, you know, like you just really need to think long and hard about it before you just go out there and do it.
This is why I'm so glad the internet did not exist when I was in high school.
Oh my gosh.
I would have like crumpled under the bullying that these high school kids are dealing with these days.
I could never.
I would have never been able to survive the scrutiny and the constant onslaught of. I just feel like with social media now, like people just know too much. Like they just are exposed to too much. Like you're sent videos of things that like of other people talking smack about you, but like you're not supposed to hear that, you know? It's like they're with their friends, they're doing their thing, they're being dumb, and you're with your friend. You're not supposed to be exposed to all of this. But then with social media, you are, and it's too much for anyone to handle, but especially teenagers and, you know, people who don't have fully developed pre whatever that's called,
prefrontal cortex.
Yeah. So like the older I get and the older my kids get, and I see like how close they are and how I'm like, no, I'm sorry, no, not happening, my friend. Yeah. Like you can hate me all you want, you can be like, you can be made fun of for not having social media, that's fine. I'll let that one happen that. But I'm not gonna let you be bullied on social media, and I'm not gonna let you turn into an aggressor on social media either, because you get caught up in some mob mentality. And I'm just like, I'm on a rant right now, I'm just frustrated by it all. This conversation like brings up all those, like, you can't do anything these days without, you can't put anything out there in the world because you never know who's gonna spin it or turn it against you, and it just feels like wild. It's the wild, wild west.
Yeah. I just think about my 12, 13-year-old self, and if I was like on the internet, oh my God.
Or also like even my college, like I had Facebook in college.
Maybe I would have been cooler if I did have the internet, but like, wow, I was not cool. And like the things that I would have been posting on the internet would have.
I don't have like a fully formed brain yet. I don't have the ability to make educated opinions. So.
Gosh.
Or like, if an employer wanted to go back and like look at my college days on Facebook right now, they could.
I know, whenever like our memories come up from like, you know, college stuff,
I'm like,
we'll like screenshot it and like send it in our like
chat
group chat from our college friends. And we're all like, oh my God, delete that. Like how
are we posting albums of every single night out? 800 photo albums every weekend.
And like the way that you used to write on people's walls was like bananas.
It was like a text message.
And people could like edit it. Couldn't other people like edit the wall?
Probably. I don't know. It was wild back there.
And like the things that we would say, like we would say things about like our drinking or the night before or whatever, like publicly on someone's page. I'm like, why did we do that? So now we're like, oh my God, erase that.
Yeah, untag.
Like, what were we talking about? Yeah.
Even now I have like, I mean, I don't go on there, but I have it set so that like I can't be tagged in anything without approving it.
Approval. Same. Like, no.
You're not just putting something on my wall. Like, what if it's a memory from college? Like, no.
Right.
So.
But that's how we used to live on the internet. Like, people could just write on your wall with no approval, just like whatever they want to say.
They could do whatever they wanted to do. And now they do whatever they want to do, but they do it in social media apps where it disappears after once seen. So it's like there's you can be the biggest bully you want to be, and then all the evidence disappears. It's terrifying. I'm scared of the internet. I think because Lila's starting to get to the age where she's like, she asks all the time about wanting a phone, wanting social media, and I'm like, oh no. It's like like a regular conversation we have to have. Like, it's not happening, my friend. I'm so sorry to tell you that. Like, I'm a cool mom. You can eat all your Halloween candy you want, but you cannot have a phone. Like,
we're a candy house. We're not a phone house.
Yeah.
We're not a social media house.
Yeah.
Sorry. What age are you gonna, like, do you have in your mind yet? Or you're just...
So we've told them grade 9. So they'll be turning 14 is when they can have a phone, but only a phone that will do phone calls and text messages, not a smartphone.
Okay.
And then grade 11 is so when they're turning 16 is when we will consider upgrading to a smartphone. And then, because they're 2 years apart, then Oakley could take the phone that only does phone calls and whatever. Right. However, James and I were just talking about this last night. Like, this is very controversial. This is a hot take. I don't think I'd let them have social media that I didn't have access to.
Mm-hmm. Like, you would be on the account so that you could see the DMs and stuff too.
Yeah. And I don't know. I'm just really...
Until 18.
Until 18, and then they can do whatever they want. Or honestly, until they graduate high school, because my kids will graduate high school at 17. They'll be in college at 18, right? So if they go right out of high school. So I can't, and I might change my opinion as they get older. But for right now, I just feel very strongly that I would like to protect them from that as long as I possibly can.
Mm-hmm. So hard.
Yeah.
I don't know the right answer.
And it's not that I don't trust them. It's that I need to, like, I don't know. And again, it's like, it's not a trust issue. Like, I just don't want them to be subjected to it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's weird.
But
I'm sure
they might be, like when they turn 17 or when they're at college at 17, like,
I know.
Gotta learn how to deal with it or how to come to you, like that's part of I have a long way to go, but I'm like, I don't know. And things will change so much by then, I'm sure. But I'm like, I don't know that I'll want access to, of course I would want access to their accounts, but I'm like, maybe I wouldn't make them give me access to their accounts, but I would just want to make sure that I have a good enough relationship with them that they would come to me if something happened, or if they're like, but how do you know? How do you know that they're going to? So.
I know. I don't know. I'm sure I'll change my opinion because it doesn't like even feel right. I'm just like, how can I protect them as long as possible? And the only thing I can think of is like being able to like shut it down.
Yeah.
But I'm sure once they're older, this will be a whole different conversation.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Well, do you want to do one more story?
Yeah,
or are you done storying?
No, we're only at 37 minutes, so.
All right. Trying to keep our heads above water. And boss is asking weekly how we're doing on our side projects. We're short-staffed and boss wants to meet weekly regarding our goals. Frankly, my goal is to get through each day without making an error in light of the crazy heavy workload that we have. My secondary goal is to be able to take my lunch hour at least 2 days a week and get up to go to the bathroom every couple hours so my body doesn't start aching. I have no time for these meetings or to work on pet projects as we're struggling to keep our heads above water. I'm told these projects are not a priority, but yet they're checking in on our progress weekly. Basically, every week sounds like this. How are your goals going? My reply, same as last week, no progress as I worked X number of hours to keep up with my X project. There was literally no time to do anything else unless I worked on my own time every weekend. Is that what they're expecting? It is above and beyond my job description. As a salaried employee, am I required to do them? I am worried about when the time comes for reviews. What is another professional way to explain that I'm currently giving 110% and I'm not willing or able to give 150%?
Oh, man. My first question would be, do you all time track? Because I think that would give like a very clear data point as to like, I don't have time to do anything above and beyond like my minimum or like regular job requirements.
Primary job here.
Yeah. And here's how I spend my days. So I would, if this side project is a priority to you and the company, we're going to need to look at this together and try to find where we can find the time because I am at capacity.
Yeah. And I think, the questions of like, it's beyond my job description. Am I required to do them? I'm also worried about reviews. I think since you're having these weekly meetings, I would be really transparent in the next meeting that you have with your manager of like, I don't have time to work on this project. And I need to better understand, like, is this going to affect me in my review? Like, what is the expectation around this project in relationship to my job responsibilities? And can we stop having this weekly meeting? Because I also don't have the capacity to do this meeting just to tell you the same thing, that I haven't worked on this project, right? It really just makes me feel like I'm not doing enough when I'm already over capacity on my primary role and the things that I think are most important for me to be focused on. But if there's something that is more important that you would like me to focus on, then maybe we need to have a reevaluation of what my priorities are and what the expectations are of my role. So I think I would go into that next meeting with like just really wanting to put it all on the table. Like, what is the expectation of my role? What is your understanding of my capacity and the capacity of the team? Because like, we're not able to get these things done. Like, we're drowning over here.
Yeah.
So, but I would do that way in advance of your review so that you're not disappointed when it comes to your review, and so that your manager is not like giving you a disappointing review when maybe they don't have all the context that they need, or the transparency that they need. I think it would be really insensitive for someone to hear this from you and then give you a poor review, when maybe they didn't at least help you reprioritize. So I think it's their responsibility to help you reprioritize if it truly is a higher value priority for them than some of the other things that you do have the capacity to work on. Or it's their responsibility to help you get some of these other things off your plate.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I don't think that you need to be giving 150%. And like you said, you're not able to give it. So
no.
So don't.
And I think it's just that like we need to reestablish expectations and realistic expectations. And sounds like they maybe need to hire someone.
Right. It says you're short staffed. So like, to me, the first thing when you're short staffed is like, we're not working on these like extra projects right now.
No, we're doing top priority.
Yeah, like, is this person out of touch? Like, is your manager out of touch with like what's actually going on? Or do they just think they're supposed to do that because maybe their boss is like, what's going on with the project? Yes. And they're like, well, yeah, we're meeting about the projects. Like, maybe it's something that they're checking a box for as well. So I would definitely just be transparent in your next conversation with them and tell them that these 30 to 60 minutes that you're meeting every week would really help you also gain some capacity back. If
it's all about the side projects. Yeah.
Right. If it's all about the side project, like, why are we meeting?
So I hope that helps. Start with time tracking. I think that'll help give you some
like time track for a week.
Yeah.
Use the Clockwork tools to like identify like, your 4 Ds. Are you doing, deciding, delegating, designing, and then use the Ts as well. Like, is this something you can trash, trim, transfer, or treasure? The things that really are the highest value for you. And I think that'll maybe give you and your manager some clarity on
exactly
what's going on and how we can maybe move some things around.
Exactly. Good luck.
What if you were like, if you were at a company and you didn't know about like the Clockwork tools and one of your direct reports like came to you with a time tracking and the 4D and the 4T, would you be like, oh my gosh, this is like really helpful and great? Or would you be like, what is this? As a manager, say you're the manager
and I don't know.
Your team member went ahead on their own and like did this to show you like what their capacity is, where they could make some improvements.
Yeah, I would be happy with that.
Yeah, me too.
I'd be thrilled to be like, okay, because obviously I would like to think too that I wasn't the type of manager that is having the same meeting over and over again and expecting different results. Like I wouldn't just be meeting every week. I would know. But if I was, maybe a little bit out of touch, it would be really helpful to see. It's really hard to ignore. Would be
like, oh, this person like took some initiative to get me some real data on what's going on in their role versus just complaining that
how they have no time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, because sometimes there's it's so easy for there to be a disconnect between what the manager thinks is happening and the reality of what's happening. So being able to see it transparently would be, and maybe I'd be like looking at it and be like, well, no wonder this task that I think takes 10 minutes takes 10 hours. You know?
Right.
So
I just never thought of it from that angle.
Mhm.
But I think as a team member, even if it's not something that your like company is doing, I think it could be a really useful tool for you to just do on your own. That's like a simple tool that you can do to show maybe some of the reality of what's going on in your role
100%.
and make some
changes.
movement, some changes. Yeah.
Okay, well.
All right. It's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
I'll see you next Tuesday. Happy Halloween.
Yes. Enjoy your trick-or-treating
Share
if you
with
do
a
it.
friend.
Leave us a follow, share with a friend, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
See you next Tuesday.